Tuesday. It is Tuesday, August 2nd, 214th day of the year. There are 151 days left in 2022. And welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom, brought to you by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. There's a lot going on, so let's just jump right into it. The greatest champion in all of team sports, Bill Russell, died this past weekend. Bill Russell was a 5-time MVP, 11-time NBA champion, and 12-time All-Star. An Olympic gold medal, but he was more than that to me. His influence went beyond basketball. As a boy, I wanted to be like Bill Russell and other pioneering sports figures. I wanted to be an athlete that could make a difference, not just on the field, but in life. Yes, Bill Russell won a lot of games, but he was also one of the athletes who was a pioneer who fought for civil rights. The great photo of Bill Russell, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and other black athletes of the time in support of Muhammad Ali was inspirational to me as a young boy growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, living my own dreams of becoming a pioneer sports athlete. Russell then became the first black coach in the NBA. He loved a town and a city that had not always loved him back. He was a statesman, a man of integrity. He inspired me both as a boy and as a man. When I heard the news of his passing, I felt a huge sadness. No, I didn't know him, and I'm sure he wasn't a saint. But let me say, Bill Russell, thank you for the inspiration. So some things are worth repeating, and that's how I feel about today's show and our G-List guest. 2 months ago, Andrew Jackson joined us to talk about his football career at the renowned Grambling State University. We also talked about our time in the World Football League and subsequently working as coaches together. Andy then told me he was scheduled to be inducted into the Grambling Football Hall of Fame. And if you've followed college football, you know Grambling's reputation. Their former coach is the winningest coach in college football. Let's see. Robinson, their coach, sent more than 200 professional players into the NFL, the AFL, and the CFL. And so to be inducted into the Grambling Football Hall of Fame is quite an honor. Andy promised to bring back photos from the induction, but he did that and more. We have two G-List guests today, Andy and Sammy White, another Grambling star who was an all-pro receiver who played 10 seasons of his professional career as a wide receiver with the Minnesota Vikings, and he was a great one. He winning the Associated Press Offensive Rookie of the Year, UPI, NFL, NFC Rookie of the Year awards in 1976. He was a two-time Pro Bowl selection in 76 and 77. In 128 career games, he totaled 393 receptions, 6,400 receiving yards, and 50 touchdowns. So we look forward to that conversation. Okay, so this edition of Tuesday with Thom, of course, is sponsored by our partners, the Best Girl Consulting Firm. Best Girl has been providing customized solutions to executive issues for 34 years. Let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Solution that fits your needs. So let's immediately go to the roundtable regulars and introduce Barbara Wallace-Edwards and Michael Walker. Good morning to you guys. But let me first say, before we get into that Anthony Lamont Staten is getting married. Congratulations, Antley. He got engaged to Angela Howard Gibbs. And Antley had a photo on Facebook where he got down on one knee and asked Angela to marry him. And so we're proud of him. We wish them well. Anthony, we'll hear from you in a little while. But congratulations, man. I'm sure Barbara and Michael will want to talk to you. So, Barbara, you got something you want to say to Antley this morning?
I do, Tom. Good morning, everyone. I want to say congratulations to Antley and Angela. I watched the video, the live video, where he actually got down on one knee and proposed to Angela. And so I'm so happy for the two of them. And he wants us to know that invitations will be in the mail to you, myself, and to Michael. He wants us to be there. And Anthony even suggested that Ted Marcus perform the ceremony, Tom. So you may get a call.
If Ted does the ceremony, they may come back and tell you you're illegally married. So I don't know if you want Ted to do it. Antley, we're glad for you, man. Great.
Yes,
Great.
So happy for him.
So, Barbara, what's happening with you? I got a couple of things I need to ask you about. But
okay, Tom. You mentioned Bill Russell passed away. We lost two other greats that I call my heroes. Nichelle Nichols of Star Trek fame.
Yeah, I saw
passed
that.
away. Also, and Mary Alice, who's a well-known actress, passed away as well on last week. So our condolences to the family and friends of all three of those individuals.
Well, the lady on Star Trek was a pioneer. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
There weren't many Black people on television when she did that.
That is so true.
Yeah. And who was the other one that you just mentioned?
Mary Alice.
Mary Alice was. Yes. If phenomenal you saw actress. Fences,
yes,
you saw a pro at the top of her game.
Absolutely.
She was great. I saw her on Broadway with James Earl Jones doing Fences, and they were just awesome.
Yeah. One of the best Broadway plays I've ever seen. I got a chance to see that as well, and they were phenomenal. She not only starred on Broadway, but also did some TV work, A Different World. She appeared in Sparkle and actually in some daytime soaps as well. So she had a long career and just a phenomenal actress.
Okay, I'm going to go to Michael, and we're going to come back to you, Barbara, because I got something I want to talk to you about. But Michael, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Tom. Good morning to you, and good morning to you, Barbara, as well.
All right. So, Michael, your thoughts on Bill Russell?
Well, all I can say is I agree with all the accolades and the comments that have already been said about Bill Russell. I think Bill also, he always said that he's not a basketball player. That's just something that he does. He's more than a basketball player. And when you think about his intelligence and the cerebralness of the way not only he played the game, but the way he conducted his life, I would have to agree with that. And Bill himself said that he feels like some of the activism and all the stances that he took was just basically laying the way or the path for athletes today to follow in his footsteps. And I have to admire somebody like that because, I never really liked the Boston Celtics. I always rooted against Boston, primarily because of the bigotry from the city of Boston and what have you. But I have to admit that Boston was the first city to bring in an African-American player, if I'm not mistaken, and that was Bill Russell. Red Auerbach did that. And I was told that Boston was the first team to field an all-black starting five in the NBA. But Bill said that he didn't play for the city of Boston. He played for the Celtics because he'd go and play for the Celtics, and then when he step out of the arena, all the hatred and bigotry that he absorbed could not afford him to say he was playing for Boston.
Did you hear the story about how they broke in his house and desecrated his house?
Yes.
Went to the bathroom in his bed.
Yes.
That's one of the, I thought a great story I heard was they went to Lexington, Kentucky to play a game, and the people wasn't going to let them play because they wasn't going to let them eat in the restaurants.
Right.
And Bill went and told Red Auerbach they were going home.
Yeah.
And they went home, and I just, it was amazing. And to think that he was the coach of that team at that time. I didn't. I watched. I remember watching them all, and I liked him. I don't know about the rest of the team, but I liked him. And he
Yes.
was great. He and Casey Jones, they played in college together and then in the NBA together. So,
You know, it's funny how we talk about the biases throughout society, but Bill recalled one game he had 25 points, 20 rebounds, and so many assists. And the headline in the newspaper said Bill Russell is lucky to play with Bob Cousy.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I saw that, and that was a shame. You know.
But you know
Yeah,
what? I watched that woman. She's a sports reporter, Jackie Mullins.
Jackie Mullins,
like
yeah.
Yeah, and she went through some of her stories about Bill Russell. But I remember growing up in Birmingham, we had the Birmingham News and the Birmingham Post here. And I remember the reporters and how they had to say so. If they said it, it was true.
that was it.
If they said it, it was gospel. And it was interesting when I got to Auburn. I started playing football. I got to know some of them, and got to know that they were full of it, just like a lot of other people were. So it was interesting. So let me go to Deshaun Watson. Who wants to go first?
I'll let Barbara speak first on that.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say, Tom. I think he got off really light with the what is it, six games suspension,
6 game
and
suspension.
The fine. He got $1 million fine or something, and he makes a $47 million. That's just a drop in the bucket for him. So, and he'll lose, I think, a little over $300,000 for those 6 games that he's not going to be able to play in. So I'm not sure it's much of a.
If they had taken the money and donated it to a women's organization,
Right,
if they had
right.
done something to, quote, try to make up for it,
Mhm.
I think it would have a little bit more of an impact.
Right.
Michael?
Well, a couple things that stuck out to me in this whole scenario. One is that the Houston Texans had some culpability as well, because it was revealed that they were setting up some of these appointments for Deshaun.
Oh, okay.
And so they were being drugged into the lawsuit by the plaintiffs as well. So I knew then it was going to. The other thing is, one particular plaintiff had told her son that she gave Deshaun a massage and nothing happened. Everything was above board. But then when the class action lawsuit started and she joined, she changed her story and claimed something did go on that was unwanted. And from what I read, her son, when was interviewed with the NFL, he came clean about it and told him that his mother changed the story. She had told him one thing earlier and then changed her story to get paid. So that's when I started to feel like there would be some holes in it,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm sure that every situation was not valid, that he was accused of, but there's too many of them for it not to be true, totally, untrue. So, yeah, you don't know how many of those are real and how many are not, but yeah, there's some truth to it.
My question is, and I may not know the exact number, but they settled 24 of the cases or something to that effect, 24, 25.
Okay.
Right.
So when you settle them, I guess, first of all, they're confidential, so you can't tell what was in the settlement.
Right.
But also, doesn't that take away the culpability? I mean, doesn't that say, okay, we've settled this, it's over, they've agreed to it, so on and so forth. So I guess I don't understand why it was, and I do agree it was a light sentence, and no doubt about that.
Right.
But I don't understand, have any of the, and I guess the women who settled can't say anything. Is that
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
It's sealed,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. When you settle like that, an out of court settlement, there's a clause that you can't discuss the case and talk about the settlement and all of that type of stuff.
So I'm sure there was some type of monetary awards for them to agree to settle. And therefore they can't talk about it.
Well, and I'm going to say this, and we're not on national television, so I can say it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with these guys? I don't get it, I guess. And should he have his living taken away? I don't know.
I don't think he should be banned from the NFL. I certainly don't think that's the case. I think he probably needs some help. I would hope that part of the settlement is he goes and gets some therapy or some type of help.
Well, I agree with you, Barbara. I think that would have, a lot of this is what they call optics, how it looks.
Right.
And it could have looked differently with what you just described and some kind of treatment.
Right.
Does it matter if it's 6 games or if it's 10 games? I mean,
right.
What you want is that this hadn't happened anymore.
Absolutely.
Not just with him, but with anybody.
Anyone. That is so true.
So I don't know. You guys got anything else you want to chat on?
I do. I've got a couple things to show a contrast of what's going on today. There's a family called the Bruce family out in California. And after 97 years, Manhattan Beach or Bruce Beach was returned to them.
Was it?
Yes. They're back there. One of their ancestors purchased that in 1912, but the city took it away from them in 1920. And so after 97 years, the city in California, the county where Manhattan Beach, well, that's what it's called now, but it was Bruce Beach, they returned it to the family. And so now the family is going to in turn turn around and lease it back to the city at a tune of $400,000 a year. So some people are saying this is the beginning stages of maybe reparations.
So this is a black family.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes.
Bruce, go ahead.
Yes. So now that was in California. Let's go East Coast to Georgia. There's a community there's an island called Sapelo Island.
Yeah.
McIntosh County. And it's inhabited by descendants of enslaved people that worked on the plantations on this island,
right, that
were set free after the Civil War. Well, they've been engaged in a 7-year lawsuit against the county in federal court because their property taxes has just been steadily increasing and going up. However, the services that they're supposed to receive for the payment of those property taxes, they were not receiving in their little community. Their community in the island is called Hog Hammond, okay? And these are where what you've heard people call Gula or Geechee people and stuff.
Yes.
That's where they live. So they finally settled the lawsuit, and the county is having to pay them $2 million in damages and what have you, and another $750,000. But what's interesting about it is they now have to make sure that their trash compactor is empty once a month. They need to make sure now that there is emergency services, firefighters and trucks and stuff there on the island to help them out in case something happened. They got to build a helicopter pad for evacuation and also for health. And they will now get all of the same services as the rest of the county is getting. There's no schools there, police or fire department or trash collection on it. So these services was what they were paid their property taxes for and not receiving it. And as a result of this, their property taxes are supposed to be frozen through 2025, and their fees for collecting trash is going to be reduced by 30%. So basically, they were raising the property taxes to force them to sell. So then you know what was going to happen after that.
Right.
I've been to that island before, Sapelo Island, when I served on the board, Gwinnett Clean and Beautiful. We used to go there because Reynolds Plantation is located there.
Yes.
And when we went there to stay, all of the people that provided services while we were staying, cooking the meals and all that, they were these people that lived on the island. So you see where I'm going with this. So they want to raise their taxes where they live in their little community. So they end up, and then these other big corporations will come and take over, because Reynolds Plantation didn't have an issue. Okay.
Right.
What's Reynolds Plantation? I'm not familiar.
That's part of Reynolds Tobacco Company. And that was just where the big wigs came to hang out.
Isn't that a Marriott property that's there now, Michael?
I'm not sure. It may be.
It's a big hotel there.
Yeah, it probably is. It's been a long time since I've been there. But at that time, when I was visiting, it was just the Reynolds Plantation, which was just a huge mansion for its day. And it was part of the golden era, the Guild, era. So I find that quite interesting that they had to fight just to get services that they're supposed to get there on Sapelo Island. Sapelo Island is about 20 to 30-minute ferry ride from the mainland, and that's the only way you can get there. So the kids have to get up, catch the ferry to go to the mainland to go to school. Okay, and they also found out that the ferries wasn't maintained and upkeep, so they got to do all of that now. So you look on the West Coast, after 97 years, this family gets their property back and they're leasing it back, and over here in Sapelo Island, 2015 is when they filed the lawsuit, and it just was settled. Now, going back to what you said earlier, Thom, I thought it was pretty interesting that the Richard Strickland, the county lead attorney in the lawsuit, denied that the county had demonstrated against Hog Hammond residents because they were Black, and they said that this settlement was not any admission of any liability or wrongdoing.
They always say that, any settlement.
Well, I'm saying that to draw a contrast to the Deshaun Watson. So his settlement was not acknowledging any wrongdoing.
Yeah.
There was an article down here, Northwest Florida, about, all these resort areas are going up. And, some of them are millions of dollars to live in, so on and so forth. But the issue that has come up is the people who work in the resorts aren't millionaires, have a hard time finding somewhere to live around the resorts or in the resorts. So they end up having to live 30, 40 miles away and then make that trek into work every day and back simply because they've built these monstrosities and they can't find anybody to work on them.
Right.
And so it's somewhat similar to what you're talking about, but it's just not well thought out. Let me put it that way. Not well thought out at all. So, okay.
But they want to pay these people. They want to pay these people, minimum wage or not much more than that, and then expect them to, like you say, drive forever to get there, and they're not making any money. It costs them almost as much money to get back and forth to work as they do making, their hourly wage. So, yeah, it's not a good situation.
Okay, well, let me one more thing, and I want to do this now before I forget, but there seems to be a consensus that Ted Marcus does Antler's wedding. So, Antler, if you want Ted to do your wedding, We'll see if Ted can work that out. So, but you gotta have Michael and Barbara agree to come with me. So
I already told him if I'm available,
see.
I'll be there.
We'll see how that goes. So I'll talk to you, brother. You beat us up so bad last year about South Carolina beating Auburn, though. So I don't know. But we'll see. Okay. All righty. Well, is anything else from either one of you?
No.
I just want to say, Thom, best wishes to all the kids that are starting school. I know school started in some areas on last week, and I think in Georgia, and in some areas over the next 2 to 3 weeks, school will be starting almost everywhere. So best wishes to all the kids as they begin their new school year.
Just doesn't seem like they have it. They're out as long as we used to be.
They're
we
not.
had 3 full months, man. And
Yeah,
when you got back, one of the first things you had to do was talk about what you did over your summer vacation.
Absolutely.
Because that was a big deal. You were gone. And I didn't, where I went to school, those kids didn't live in my community, so to speak. So you didn't see them for 3 months, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't have that long of a break anymore. When we were in school, we didn't start school until after Labor Day.
That's right.
Yeah.
But now here it is, 1st of August, end of July, and school's already starting.
And we got out at the end of May, Memorial Day.
Right.
And, one of the things when we got back was, how many books did you read? Did you read any good books? Tell us about it. All of that type of stuff. Well, I guess it's a different time,
It is.
So Renell said we spent a week talking about our vacation, What'd you do on your vacation? And if you didn't do anything, you kind of had to make something up because you didn't want to be the only one that didn't go on vacation. Right. Although most of the kids didn't go anywhere.
That was the norm in my community. Most of us didn't go anywhere.
We didn't go anywhere. I tell you what, now I realize my mom, when we got out for summer vacation on Friday, on Monday morning, we had to go to Vacation Bible School.
Oh, yes.
Man, I hated that. But now I realize she needed to get us out the house. I mean, she had to find something for us to do.
Right.
So we went to vacation, and it's like, Mama, we just got out Friday. We ain't gonna even get the whole weekend.
Not only did we have to go to Vacation Bible School, we went to summer school. It wasn't even required, but it was there. So my mom's like, you can learn something. You going.
In other words, get out the house.
We were honor students. We still went to summer school.
Yes, it was either that, and for me, it was go get a job. I had to spend the summer painting the school.
And at Auburn, when I went, it was on the quarter system. Mm-hmm. And so you got out of school later than the kids who were on the semester system.
Right.
And so, man, sometimes it was hard to find a summer job,
That's true.
because they had gotten all the jobs, Okay, anything else from you guys? Well, let's go to our G list, guys. Well, I'm sorry. Let's go to Sean and see if we got a minute. She got a minute for us. Sean?
Good morning. My name is Sean Jones, and this is Got a Minute. Hello to everyone joining in with us this morning. I hope you all have been well and in great spirits as we roll on into August. August. Can you believe it's August already? Well, I can. And I can also believe that on this day, August 2nd, 1992, Jackie Joyner Kersee becomes the first woman ever to win 2 consecutive, not 1, but 2 consecutive Olympic gold medals in the heptathlon. For anyone that doesn't know, a heptathlon is a 7-event athletic contest for female athletes that consist of 100-meter hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, the 200-meter dash, the long jump, the javelin throw, and the 800-meter run. I don't know about all of you, but I must say, I am pretty impressed. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Sean Jones, and this has got a minute.
I tell you, I think Sean really enjoys that guy.
I think she does too. She
Yes.
does a great job.
He's just grinning all the way through it. Thank you, Sean. So Hollywood has the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Thom, we have the G list. Our G list guests today are two of them: Andrew Jackson and former All-Pro wide receiver Sammy White of the Minnesota Vikings. Andy's been with us before. He's a behavioral associate counselor at Children's Hospital of Alabama. Andy, and I'm just going to give you a couple things about Andy because I did it before, but his daily goals and aspirations is to live in an attitude of gratitude and perfect his skills for listening. Andy believes that listening is the key to a lot of issues that can be solved if you can just listen. He attended Richwood High School, played football, achieved the status of team captain and all-state. Got a football scholarship to Grambling. I met Andy in the World Football League. And then Sammy White, a former American football wide receiver in the NFL. I remember watching him. He was great. He was fantastic, actually. He played all 10 seasons of his professional career with the Minnesota Vikings. We won the Associated Press Offensive Rookie of the Year, the NFL NFC Rookie of the Year awards in '76. In his 128 career games, he totaled 393 receptions, 6,400 receiving yards, and 50 touchdowns. Let's get Andy and Sammy on with us this morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Doing good.
All right. Andy's disappeared again. So I guess it's you, Sammy. First of all, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
No problem. It's good I had somebody to help me get on.
Hey, Sammy. Don't feel bad about that. All of us have somebody to help us get on.
So true.
So tell me about playing for the Vikings and well, first of all, playing for Eddie Robinson at Grambling. And how was that? I played for a guy named Shug Jordan at Auburn. So you had these coaches who had been around a long time. Uh-huh. And they were legends. Your coach was a legend. What was it like playing for him?
Well, first of all, it's really about how you get there and how you feel about wanting to go there. He used to have a television show come on every Sunday morning, the Eddie Robinson Show. And, I'm about to miss Sunday school and church, and Mama ready to beat me out the house, but I wanted to see the Eddie Robinson Show. And, as time went on, I think I was like junior high, 8th grade or something like that. Jane Harris, Dallas Howell, they was playing at Grambling. And they scooped me up one weekend and took me to a game. And from that point, I was in love with Grambling and already in love with Eddie Robinson. And, the day I was getting recruited and everything, it was, I had so many coaches, just lined up coming to my house. And Coach Robinson got there. I say, let him in. He get head of the line, and he came on in, and I was ready to go then. I read the sign and ready to go. Out of all the offers and things I had, I was just sold on Grambling and Coach Robinson. And, once I got there, it was no disappointment. He used to give some of the before game speeches and stuff. Sometimes, a baseball player being there and a basketball player being there. And, they be saying once you get back on campus, I kill for Coach Robinson. And, if you got baseball and basketball players in there, just think what the football players going to do. You're going to run through that brick wall, and whatever it takes to win for Coach Robinson, that's what you're going to do.
Okay. Sounds great. Michael, Barbara, you guys got questions?
I have one. Good morning, Sammy. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No
You, of
problem.
course, you had a wonderful, wonderful career at Grambling and went on to play for the Minnesota Vikings and played wide receiver. And there were a long list of great wide receivers who played for Minnesota: Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Ahmad Rashad, Jake Reed, and the list goes on and on and on. And of course, you're in that list. So, who is your favorite receiver besides yourself, of course, that played for Minnesota?
Well, actually, it's a guy in Atlanta right now, John Gilliam.
Okay.
Okay, I remember him.
Yes.
Uh-huh. I used to watch John when he was in Minnesota, and he inspired me. And only thing I hated, he left Minnesota and came to Atlanta the year I came to Minnesota, and I wished I had a chance to play with him.
Right.
But we do have a list of great receivers that played for the Vikings, and thing about it, we had a lot of them on a Zoom call a couple months ago for Bud Grant's 95th birthday.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was a wonderful time and wonderful thing.
That's great.
Minnesota had great teams back then.
Yes.
And I mean, you had the Purple People Eaters on defense and offense, but you just couldn't quite get over that hump at the Super Bowl. So
0-4.
yeah. Well, Buffalo.
It's actually fun to get there. Don't know what it feel like to win it, but it was great being there. But you would like that feeling of how it feels to win it.
That was the thing when you watch Golden State play this year in basketball. Boston had a heck of a year, but Golden State won it, and that's a heck of a difference.
That's a big difference.
Andy, good morning, brother.
Coffee, smelling roses.
Hey man, I'm in and out.
I hear you. You got to do
I
that
should
thing.
have took Michael's advice and got away from AT&T.
I told you.
Oh, okay.
I told you.
I heard you when you said it, Michael. I heard
I
you.
feel for you, Andy. I know what you mean.
Well, Barbara had that same issue, so
Yes.
we're getting there. You guys got questions for Sammy and Andy?
Yes, I have a question, and this question is going to be for both. But first of all, I want to say congratulations to both of you on being inducted into the Grambling Hall of Fame. That's quite an achievement, and it's a legacy for your family. So my hat's off to both of you. I'd like to ask each of you, what does it mean personally to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, because you're the best of the best that ever came through there? So what does it mean to each of you personally? Either one can go first.
Sam, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. With Grambling history, with how many players they don't put in through professional football and how many players really didn't make it, the list is outstanding. But to be recognized as one of Grambling finest, that's kind of put you on a pedestal. And you always got to learn to compete, and once you learn to compete, it'll take you a long way. And it's like when I got to Grambling on the depth chart, I probably was number.
Uh-oh, he's frozen.
Andy, you want to take over? Can you talk?
I can say how far he
Here you
was
go.
down on the depth chart, but look here.
Go ahead, you guys.
Okay.
Go ahead and finish up, Sammy.
Okay, but
I
it
mean,
means everything. Being part of Grambling's legend. We have like a Hall of Fame there where they used to have basketball game way back in the days, and it used to call it the women's gym, but now they turned it into a Hall of Fame for Grambling players, all sports, and you can walk in there in a day and see yourself placed up on the wall.
That's great, man.
It's great.
That's great.
Okay. Andy, you want to answer the question? What does it mean to you personally to be inducted and be one of the best of the best?
Yeah, man, it was. I'm still having. James Harris introduced me, a guy we call Shaq back in the neighborhood, and the things that he said about me, it still gives me goosebumps.
Wow.
One of the things is that I had the opportunity to bring my family and my grandkids along, down to Grambling, down to
Well, y'all got to get rid of this
home
AT&T.
house and everything, and it meant to have my grandkids with me.
Yeah.
Toot my own horn, but to hear other folks.
Here we go.
Okay.
Both may be frozen now.
Yeah, I think he's frozen now.
Yeah.
It looks like Sammy's frozen too.
Sammy's unfreezing.
He's back now.
I'm back.
Okay.
Well, you can pick up from here, Sammy.
Why don't I switch it a little bit? Sammy, tell me, coming from Grambling, playing wide receiver and going to the NFL, what was the biggest adjustment that you had to make? And the reason why I asked that, they always talk about the difference in the speed, the size, and all of that. And they always talk about certain schools that their program. Alabama is known for that. They run their program like an NFL, so the players are NFL ready. And I'm sure that's not what they said about you coming from Grambling. So what was your big challenge and adjustment?
Well, the biggest challenge is having that right mindset. And
I agree.
actually, I went there and my
We're having a tough time this morning, huh?
No.
I think
AT&T is in the house.
we're getting ready to get some weather down here. I don't know how it is where you guys are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm back. Let me see, can I finish?
Okay. Go ahead.
But anyway, I got the camp and everything, and my mindset was these are professional defensive backs and stuff. How I'm gonna win, get open on routes and thing, and I concentrated so hard on getting open and everything. And when I was wide open, every ball came my way. I was dropping it. Practice, I would have good practice, but when you get into a
Oh, wow.
We're going to have y'all finish each other's sentences.
Well, yeah. And Andy, you can talk about your adjustment going from Grambling. Are you back, Sammy?
yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I hope we can finish this. But anyway, I was dropping so many balls and thing, and I think it was like the fifth, or we were playing 6 preseason game then, about 5th preseason game or something. I think Bud Grant started me the game, and hopefully.
Oh, wow.
Some confidence.
Yeah.
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 Gave him some confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Bud Grant.
Well, Andy, you want to talk about your transition from Grambling to the World Football League? Was that a big adjustment for you?
Well, whenever you go to the next level, yeah, it is. It is. But one of the things about it is where I come from. One of the things that Shaq said about in my introduction, that we competed on the sand lots. We didn't have organized sports for kids per se. Yeah, we competed on the sand lots, and I always played with older guys. I might have been a little bigger, but these were guys that were in high school, and some of them were out of high school. But the thing about it is, you had to compete. So that was not a fear factor, but just knowing that, wherever you showed up, you had to be hungry.
Yeah.
And going home was not an option. So, just as Sammy said, it's about from the neck up, because if you got the skills and the abilities, they're always going to be, but it's in between your ears.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I certainly can relate to that. When you talk about like growing up, like you're saying, playing in the sandlot, those are some of the most competitive games you had out there, because you didn't want to get embarrassed and have people talking about you. So you had to show up. And the other thing you talk about between the ears, a lot of times when you're playing out there, they try to punk you out, first of all, and take your heart. And so you got to stand up to them. So when you get to the other league playing with those guys, you already know those lessons. So I can certainly relate to that.
Well, it's kind of nice to get to a real football field.
Yeah.
Which one?
Once again, going back to what Shaq was saying, the name of the game was compete or go home to your mama. And that's what he said. That's what he said in the introduction, That's the way it was.
Now you mentioning Shaq, and Shaq Harris, James Harris. He was like one of the first black quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
Yes.
I remember him very well. Now we've got a photo of you guys who are. I'll let you explain the photo, but can we pull that photo up? Em or Sean, please. Go ahead and say. Let me see.
Yeah,
We got who we got left to
from
right.
my left to the right. That's Charlie Smith. We're all Grambling men, and we grew
G-men, you call them, huh?
Yeah, and we all went to the same high school except Shaq. To my left is Charlie Smith. There's Sammy, myself, Larry Wright, who played in the NBA, and he's from the neighborhood too, and Shaq. Okay. We're all Grambling men. Just a quick story about the guy to Sammy's right, which is Tank. We call him Tank. Charlie Smith. He only played 1 year of high school football. He was a trainer for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And had an excellent NFL career.
And played in the NFL. Wow.
Yeah. He was a trainer on the football team for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he started playing his senior year.
So I guess competing and practice at that time, you guys were going against all pros in some instances.
Yes.
No doubt about it, man. And it was good for you. It was good for you, because if you wanted to be there, there was no other options.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Me and Larry played on the same high school basketball team. We won the state championship my senior year.
Wow.
I think we went something like 36-1. But
wow.
also all these guys in the summertime, we all met up at Johnson Recreation Center.
Out there behind the
1
red
o'clock, and we played basketball. Then about 5 o'clock, everybody go behind the recreation center and hook up for football.
And I think the thing that's really interesting to me, you guys were talking, like when we played football, you just played on a field or in somebody's yard. Wasn't like you had a nice field.
It wasn't a stadium, was it?
No. And so you ended up, a lot of times, I think, for me, the first time I played organized, I was in 11th grade, and so it was just a different thing. Now, Sammy, let me ask you, I think you are being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Great, man. And that will be in Canton, Ohio, that one?
Well, actually, the ceremony actually happened in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It happened in Atlanta a couple months ago, but
Okay.
we do have a ceremony coming up. We'll be in Kent. It's I don't know what two schools is playing in Billson Stadium, but we would be there for that.
How do you guys feel about today when the black colleges are getting maybe not as much publicity as the Auburns and Alabamas, but they're certainly getting the publicity now, and Deion's bringing a lot of attention. How you guys feel about that?
You can go ahead.
Okay, Sam. I'm really excited about it because I think it's rightful. It's to be there even now. It's the HBCU's rightful place because we're still producing. We're not producing on the highest level that that Auburn's and the Alabamas per se, but they're still producing. And I'm not just talking about athletically. I'm talking about academically. All it's
Well, it only freezes when somebody starts talking.
I'm excited.
I just said it only freezes up when somebody starts talking. So we just heard the first part of what you said. You were frozen for a second.
Because
I guess he froze again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sammy. You can answer that question.
Sam, I'm gonna let you talk. It might not do it for you.
It's been doing me too.
I'm gonna let you talk, Sam. It might not freeze up on you.
You froze him up, man.
I wasn't trying to, man.
You took the deal his way, Andy.
Oh man.
I don't know what's going on.
There you go, Sammy.
We tried again.
Sam, you with AT&T?
No. No, not, who are we with? I don't know.
Sammy said that's not in his pay grade. That's not in your pay grade, right?
No, inside stuff, somebody else had to take care of that. Outside, I'm good. But,
man.
Anyway, back in the day, playing at Grambling, we felt we could compete with anybody. It didn't matter what school we was gonna play against. We had enough athletes there, and a lot of people wanted to be there. And once you do that, you can compete with anybody. I think my junior, senior year, I think we had over 20-some people drafted. So
wow.
It made it, I guess, easy for Coach Robinson to put us out there and let us go at it. And sometimes, practice, sometimes, most time, practice was harder than the game.
Yes.
And,
Can I say this right quickly, Sam?
Uh-huh.
One of the things we were getting, I think you were a freshman then, Sam. We beat about 3 or 4 undefeated teams in a row that year.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting ready to play a Tennessee State or someone. And Coach Robinson he's never usually late coming in to say what he has to say to us before we take the field. And he came in and we only had seconds before we had to take the field. And he and the other coaches huddled up front, and then it seems like they backed away and he turned and faced us. And man, he had a look of determination in his eyes, man, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, "Look, men, you're Grambling." He said, when people come to see you, he said they come to see you win. He said they expect to see you win. They expect to see you put on a show. He said, now we know who the best team is. It's just a matter of kicking the damn ball off. Let's go.
Wow.
That's the way he talks.
Yeah.
Good
Doesn't
deal.
make anybody go out there and play hard.
Oh, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You remember those kind of things, Sam?
Oh, he's a great motivator. I mean, like I say,
Yeah.
he have you, just ready to tear down the wall, stadium, whatever's in front of you. It's time to go. It's time to go.
There you go. There you
I
go.
love
That's
it.
great. That's great. Anybody got any closing comments before I make mine? Well, man, I'm so glad you guys came on. Andy, I appreciate you coming back and bringing Sammy and
Yes.
sharing you guys' stories with us. I think it was an incredible time during that time that you guys were at Grambling and we were at Auburn. And it's sort of a shame that we didn't all get to play with each other,
Yeah.
And but that's the way it was at that time. So anybody got any closing comments?
Yeah. I guess I need to tell Jack that I actually have a photograph with me running that counter and he pulling through the hole. And I'm quite sure he never saw that, but next time you get this way, I'm going to have to show it to him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, look here. Send it, man. Send it.
Well, I told him, Sammy, when we were in the World League, and he pulled around that corner, he looked somebody up. Coach said, "You got to look somebody up, son," and he would look them up.
I love letting Mike.
Then we free. But anyway, I can tell the story. That
I love letting Michael know around there.
I don't want to meet you in the hole, man.
Yeah. But I came to see Jack play in the World League, and they were playing a game in Shreveport, and man, he blocked this one guy all the way through the end zone.
Hey, we had this guy. He was a kicker, and he didn't play that much. But you always have a guy that ended the game. The game's kind of out of control. We went, so they would let him go out there and kick off. And so he kicks. So the other team had a spy. That was just all his job was to go get the kicker. And the boy kicked the ball off, and this boy came at him. So we're watching the film, and the boy's chasing him all over the field. He's just running from the boy. He ain't trying to make a tackle. He's trying to get away from this guy. Anyway, it's great, man.
And that's exactly what I would have done if Andy had come through the hole and I'm there. I would have turned and ran the other way.
If Andy was looking you up, huh?
Like I say, Michael, it was something
Okay, I think you froze up again. All right, guys, thank you so much. So I'm going to close it out here, or my closing commentary, or as I see it. Looking back. With my good friend Andy and listening to Sammy talk about their days at Grambling and Sammy talk about his days at the Vikings and then reflecting on the great Bill Russell, I'm reminded of my own time as a young man playing football. Thinking about that time of transformation from a young man into a man, being inspired by men like Bill Russell, learning to navigate the world, learning to negotiate the next steps in my life. For me, that time was not just about playing football. There was the added pressure of being an only while dealing with integration and learning. This year, one of the teams I played on, nicknamed the Amazings, because we were pretty amazing, we will commemorate our 50th year. We will look back on our 10 victories that year against only one loss. We will remember finishing as the number 5 team in the country. We will remember walking off the field tired, sore, and full of pride, having beaten another team that no one thought we could beat. In October, we will celebrate that team with a reunion on campus. There's an additional component to that commemoration for me, the Civil Rights Component. Perhaps 60, 70 teammates, former coaches, reporters, and others will be there I will be the only African American. Being an only, there were originally 3 of us African Americans. Virgil, my first roommate, left in his sophomore year. The rigors and beratement of football gave him the courage to leave. James, our leader and the first African American football player at Auburn University, passed on a few years ago, and that leaves me. I look forward to seeing the guys, remembering the stories, laughing, but to be honest, there's also some sadness remembering those days. Winning can cover up a lot of things, but it cannot erase the memories of being an only. And that is how I see it on this August 2nd in the year 2022, and that's our show for today. I want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank Michael and Barbara. Thank our G-list guests, Andrew Jackson and Sammy White. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thank Emily Hedrick, the communicator, Sean Jones, the organizer and producer of Got a Minute. Remember, enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.